this, you were out in the Badlands when you were on my show.
That's right. I was
out there. You enjoyed
state softball tournament going on in Dickinson.
Out there.
Yep.
Practice has been going for a couple weeks. Tell me how things have gone so far.
So far so good. We keep reminding ourselves that it's October 8th, 9th, right around that time, right? So we're reminding ourselves it's still early, but you have newcomers, and you got returning guys, and what we've really loved is like how the newcomers, like the transfers, so to speak, the Darius Woodsons, the Reggie Thomases, and the Mir Panoams, adding those guys in as quick as they've kind of turned the corner for us a little bit so far. That's been awesome to see, because like we're going to depend on those guys to kind of stay old, replace kind of what we lost in that mix, and then there's some young guys that are really stepping up and making some plays. So those returners that we have that I thought really had good years last year, high expectations with those guys. So, I mean, you can kind of see some things coming together, but, man, a lot of work to do, and a lot of things that are in our control, out of control, so just keep working hard.
I have not had a chance to visit with you about the announcement of the games out in Bismarck. Tell me about that, how that came together, and how excited you are to get your team to play out there.
Well, we've been looking at doing it for a while, and obviously we've got 3 kids from Bismarck.
Yep.
We got the 2 Century kids and Ryan Erickson and Anthony Doppler, and then we've got, obviously Tracy.
You got Mr. Bismarck on your roster.
Yeah, and North Dakota Hoops Report is what I call him, because I think he knows everything that's going on in North Dakota Hoops. But so with those guys, like we've been talking about it for the last couple years. So we finally did it, and we've got plans maybe to try to do that more than just this game, and it's a good trial game. We're playing Dickinson State in that game, so it'll be a good game to see kind of what that looks like. How does that go, and what does that look like?
I know everyone wants to talk about the game in December, and that's the last time we talked about getting Alabama to come. What has been the reaction when you've been out in the state about getting that game to come to Grand Forks in December?
How can I get a ticket?
Yeah, right?
I'm literally telling my extended family, like, I can't help you right now. We'll see as time goes on. But I mean, it's great to have that excitement, that enthusiasm about it. I think season ticket sales have gone up, so that's been good for that. But I mean, what an awesome thing to bring to Grand Forks and University of North Dakota, to have a game like that against a team that, it will be considered maybe one of the top teams in the country, and obviously a huge challenge with the game. But what a great opportunity to kind of showcase our program, our campus, our university, and what's going on there.
Being back on this floor, how much you remind of how close we were, and how does that? I know it's a new year.
Yeah.
When seeing Trace and like that game with Omaha, does it come right back to the top of your memory?
Sure, it stings, man. Yeah. Like that's going to go down in all my years as one of the hardest losses I've been a part of. You don't get a rebound, you don't get a basket in the last 2 minutes of a game where you're controlling it for 38 minutes pretty well. And and you give credit to that team and Frank Fiddler in particular, because Frankie was playing.
All right.
But we were doing enough to kind of ward him off still. And we've been a terrific rebounding team all year. And the last 2 minutes of that game, I just felt like Omaha got those boards they needed to get to keep possessions alive, and we couldn't slow Frankie down enough. So live and learn. It stings, but I guess hopefully that makes you stronger and better.
I think, at least around the area, you have been commended for how you've handled the portal. You've embraced it. Tell me about that that mindset. Like, this is where we're at. We may lose guys, but we cannot be left behind. Tell me about how you've embraced that.
Well, we've got
model.
Eli King from the portal, right? We got Reggie Thomas, who I think a lot of people are going to learn about Reggie this year from Hastings, which he's an NAIA All-American, first-team All-American. So, like, we benefited from it as well. And so I think there's a little bit of, we got Tyree back from the portal. Yep. So then we lost him again. But, like, it is what it is.
Such is life, right?
This is a profession, man. I get to coach college basketball. I get to work with 18 to 22-year-olds. I'm 53 years old. I've been doing this most of my life, right? And like it's changing, and if you don't change with it some, you get bitter. And I've never been a guy to sit and be bitter about anything. And so what you need to do is solve it. You need to solve problems, find new ways. And what we're doing is we're doing more junior college recruiting than I've ever done in my life. Well, that brings a guy like Amar in. My goodness. I mean, what a great guy to add to our program.
He was a great player, yes.
So, the business is find a way to stay old. We still want to bring young people in because we got some really good young players, too, that we're excited about. But when you lose that experience, you also have to bring some in, and that's where guys like Mir Panoam and Darius Woodson and Reggie Thomas come in this year. Those are guys that need to come in and give us the experience so we can kind of continue to hold that level of play in this league.
Do you feel not just yourself, but Summit League schools are recruiting high school guys less because you want to stay old now?
I think we're still recruiting high school kids. I think there's so much put on spring recruiting, replacing and filling your roster that some of that earlier evaluation isn't taking place.
Okay.
You're not getting to see the juniors as much. You're seeing them a little bit more now in the summer, getting into their senior year, right? Or so like it's just it's changed. There's no doubt, and with high school kids, it's really impacted their recruiting.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. So it opens up opportunities that if you have one available in the spring, sometimes there's some terrific kids that are available.
I was going to say, so you might find a gem there that has gone under recruited. Right?
Absolutely, you can. You sure can. But like it's just different challenges. And I feel like we've fast-forwarded 20 years in just the last 3 or 4. And I think right now the NCAA is trying to catch up rules and regulations and deregulating a lot of things. And they're doing things in reaction to how everything's changing. So, like what it is right now today and what it's going to be a year from now or 2 years from now, forget about it. It's going to be changing.
Well, that's a great segue to my next question. I was asking about this upcoming basketball season. I know you're worried about your team, but looking at the league as a whole, 9 of the 10 guys who were on the all-conference teams are gone.
Yeah.
So is it like throwing blindfolded here? I have no idea who's going to be good. Like, we have no idea.
Yeah, I think you.
I don't.
I think you can still look at rosters and see who's back. That gives that kind of when you look at programs like in Fargo with Dave, I think he's got a good nucleus of guys back that are kind of built and see it the way he does, and I think that really helps them. Right. I feel the same way about our crew with having with Amar, Trayson, and Eli back, but. Also the other guys, like we got 10 returners, and some of those guys redshirted, but they know what we're about, and that helps. And so, like, I think you could still look at rosters and kind of understand that there's going to be some stability. There's definitely when you're replacing a lot of guys or you're bringing a lot of new, you could have a team that runs the table and has an awesome year, or you could have a team that doesn't. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. You can waste a lot of time worrying about all the outside stuff. At the end of the day, we got to have a good practice tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we've enjoyed working with our crew so far, but man, like you just got to stay locked in on your team and try to get better every day.
Before I let you go here, we got to roll. Is it get long this time of year? You're still almost a month out from your first game. How do you space that out so it doesn't get dragging by the time you get to your first game?
Yeah, I think we don't go real long practices. Okay. Like we don't ever go really over 2 hours in practice. You're trying to mix in a lot of 5v5 competition in practice, but there's still a lot of skill development. There's still a lot of things we're trying to work on and improve and get better at. And we don't have the grind of games yet and the travel yet. So it is. And I told my staff about a week ago, or a little bit over a week ago, I said, after like a third or fourth practice, I'm like going, it's not even October yet. And now here we are. Well, it's only the second week in October. So, like, there's still a lot. There's still some time, but it creeps fast. And once it gets going, man, hold on, because once the games start, we're traveling, we're home, we're in and out. It moves fast.
You're crisscrossing the country again.
It is.
Right?
Notre Dame to LMU to Cancun. I know that's going to happen at some point.
Get on that South Bend trip, man. That's fantastic.
It's
great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
Sounds good, Dom. Thanks.
Paul Sather joining us, UND men's basketball coach here. You can get out of here. I know you got stuff to do to wrap up our show here today.